So I'm Dan from Cornflower Kitchens and Bathrooms. I cover the southwest, so Devon and Cornwall region, primarily focused around Plymouth, but to the wider region as well. Anywhere that wears flip-flops, basically, is the plan around here. I got into the industry. I was doing general home improvement, so I'd been doing kitchens and bathrooms, but I'd also been doing fences, decking, garden buildings, all the rest of it, and built up from there. But I got to the stage where I needed to be off the tools and growing the business. And if you're only one person, you can only grow a business to a certain size. You can't scale a single person business. And I didn't want to end up being 70-year-old with no pension and having to lay large patio slabs. That wasn't going to work.
So how did you end up landing in the unfortunate position of kitchens and bathrooms in particular then?
Well, kitchens and bathrooms are always one of those things that I'd really enjoyed, and it's a nice project to get your teeth into, rather than just getting involved in just, can you paint my lounge for me? It's I'd rather do a decent sized project. So I think I saw the advert for you guys, and it's just I like the sound of that. I'd already started mentoring with a local builders. He's basically set up his own construction company, but then he was mentoring people to get off the tools. And then I showed him the package from you guys that I'd received, and he said, I think that will do you. I think that's better than what he'd have to offer.
Really?
And also from that point of view, it was one less person in competition with him.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that he rolled over so easily.
Well, he was also very busy. So he looked it through and he said, no, I think that's exactly what you need.
So what were the main frustrations or concerns at that point before being involved with us? What was you trying to, avoid?
Well, at that point, I hadn't really focused just down on kitchens and bathrooms. So I knew that they were something I really enjoyed doing and was good at, but I hadn't really just focused it down on that. So that stage, so when I was talking to him, it was a question of getting all the trades around me, building up a business in construction, and basically the project management tools and dealing with all the trades, that kind of thing. So when it came to finding an entire package like that, it fell in my lap at the right time. Let's put it that way.
And you weren't necessarily cursed with the experience of having to work with some of the big sheds previously?
No, although I had experience of Howdens in the past, and the local Howdens to us had got a particularly bad designer at one stage, and I came a cropper a few times with their design team.
So where did you first hear about us then? When did we first appear?
It came up on Instagram or Facebook, and it just, it made sense. It made sense. And you came across as someone who knows what he's talking about.
Well, what were your thoughts then at that point? What did you think of it? Like, what were your first thoughts when you seen it for yourself?
Well, the first thoughts was, this looks great, but can I justify that kind of money? I think at the time it was 225 plus VAT. I don't know what it is still now for the base. It's still one. Okay. So that was my first thought, is can I justify that whilst I'm still the person on the tools? But very quickly that became a simple decision to make. I mean, effectively at that point, I was going to be paying £300 a month for mentoring anyway. So to pay less than that and have a full service and a full team doing exactly what I wanted to do, then that made perfect sense.
And do you think some people will hone in on the cost and not see the value sometimes?
I'm sure, 100%. But that will also kind of weed out the people that you don't necessarily need to have on board.
I think if you have to justify the 225 a month, you're probably speaking to the wrong person, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, to the stage, I would say any business you set up takes capital to set it up. But, even if you had to take a loan out just to pay that and get going, it would be money well spent over the years.
So were you skeptical at first?
Little bit. But then, so I talked to Lee on the kind of welcome call, and he's just like, yeah, okay, I'm in safe hands here. So some of the things like writing some of the welcome briefs and other things, you're just like, well, let's just talk you through it. So you're down, where you come from, how do you see the industry, kind of thing. And you instantly feel like you're in a safe pair of hands.
Is that why you joined? Do you think, what do you say the number one reason is why you actually joined?
It worked for me. and I could see that it was a way that I could scale the business. One of the interesting things for me is not coming from a fitting background specifically, I didn't necessarily ever see myself as being on the tools all the time. So my intention was only ever to fit enough that I know the system well, and then get a team of contractors to do all the installs.
Yeah, so you've gone quickly into the recruitment and management side of things.
Yeah, not necessarily recruitment. So I don't really ever want to employ anyone again. I've been through that in my past. I think I had 28 employees by the time I was 25. So I don't really want to be going down that again.
So what's the plan then? If you're not on the tools, have you got someone already with you?
It's contractors. So I've got an excellent contractor team.
Yeah.
And they'll be doing all the installs. So we've got a very good way of handing over jobs, getting the information across, and we've got a clear pricing scheme so that I can go in and I can see a kitchen. I can say, right, okay, well, there's 10 units. So there's this much to fit 10 units, whether they're big, small, medium or large, they're all, that fits within that scheme. So I can work out the costs really easily. I don't have to be going, backwards and forwards to them constantly saying how much for this and how much for that. You get the occasional job which is a bit out of the ordinary, but then they'll normally say, well, just price it like you think, and then we'll adjust it for next time.
And how do you think people should, because obviously when I said employing people, it's sort of what I meant, the contractor side. So what would you say, because obviously this is a big mind hurdle for a lot of people, getting contractors in. What would your advice be to someone who's looking at trying to get people in? How do you do it? Who are you looking for? And how do you manage them?
First and foremost, I'd say they need to represent your values. So whatever your values are, if you're the top end in the market, then they need to represent that value as well. But you need people that you can talk to, people that are prepared to take a view sometimes on, okay, this one's a slightly harder one, but the next one will be easier. So they'll all average out.
Reasonable people.
Yeah, and getting that pricing scheme in place that you've got an agreed set of values. If it's this, it's going to cost that. If it's this, it's going to cost that. And you know exactly where you are. And we've got an agreement that you don't go back on that job. So if you get into a situation and it's, this one takes longer to get the tiles off the wall or something, then they don't come back and say, oh, well, that took longer, so I want more money. The deal is, if it happens consistently, then we look at the pricing in future. But you always know at the beginning of the job how much the job's going to cost you. So that's really important, because you don't want the once you've set the prices with your customer, you don't want to be changing those prices at all.
No, because it's a massive erosion of trust, unless they're asking for something to be added on.
Yes, yeah, additions, of course, that's a different thing altogether. And sometimes you come up against a problem which is kind of building related and not something you could have foreseen. For example, you take the washing machine out and find out the floor has been leaking for years and the floor's rotten.
Yeah,
but you wouldn't necessarily been able to tell that from the survey.
No, and I remember, like, with the lads with me back in the day, that if they asked for extra money on stuff, not that you'd always say no, but I did point out to them quite frequently that the days where you've got off earlier, or when you've had an easier day, you're not come back to me going, oh, do you know what, I think I'll give you some money back.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, does it?
Fuck off. Along the recruitment lines then, so how do people go along, how do people go about finding these people?
Just stepping back to one other point I was going to make is, it's really important to go and visit their work and see what they're doing. And if you pick up on any things, find out why it was. Because, so for example, this one I picked up, well, that plastering's not very good. Yeah, we didn't do that plastering. We told them that it needed changing, but they didn't do it. So you get the odd bit like that. Generally, you can tell looking at it if it's a finish you'd want to put your name to. Because at the end of the day, they are representing you. And if they're not representing your values, then it's not going to align. You can ruin your reputation far quicker than you can build it.
Yeah, 100%. It's very quick to destroy a company. It's very long to build one.
Definitely.
How would somebody find these people? Like, how's the best way? If you were looking for a contractor now, a new one, how would you go about it?
So I do a lot of networking. So you get to meet a lot of contractors on that way. Also, so I'm a member of lots of Facebook groups locally, and you get to see the same names come up again and again as people that are recommended for jobs. So that's quite a good one. And also, I mean, generally with the trades that you deal with, they'll all have a carpenter that they deal with, or a bathroom fitter. You can normally find, I mean, failing that, just hang around outside B&Q and look at the vans.
Harass people.
Well, if they've got a tatty van, then don't bother with it. If they've got a decent looking van,
Yeah, true.
and if they drive a T5 Transit van, then they're probably too expensive.
Yeah, you can tell. The signs will be there.
Yeah.
So with regards to being in the academy then, what are your thoughts, and what's it like being in the community of the academy as opposed to being on your own?
The community is a really, really important one. I think we spoke about this on the Snowdon walk. Just having that, all those people that are going through the same thing as you. So when we go through the live events, you might have 40 or 50 people in the room, but by the time you're halfway down the one side asking what their current issue is, you realize it's all the same things coming up time and time again. It's all the things you were worried about. And if you're sat there on your own, it's quite lonely sometimes, and you don't realize that everyone else is going through exactly the same thing. So that's really good. And there's always an answer in the community as well. So, I had an issue on something the other day, and it was about 9:30, 10 o'clock on a Friday night, and I just dropped a message into the group, and I was just like, well, I'll wait for him to get to that on Monday morning, and had an answer within 5 minutes. That was Ariana. I told her to start a weekend.
Yeah. Well, we're as dedicated as you at the end of the day. That's...
Yeah. But it is good to have the team. You feel like you're part of a big team.
And do you feel like on your own, it would be a lot different?
I'm not even sure how I'd start on my own, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's what you've built with the academy, essentially turning carpenters into business people, is pretty amazing, really. I think that is outstanding, because I've always had this thing. So my wife was an artist for a long time, and artists are not people who run businesses. So it's very difficult for an artist to run a business which is going to make money. And it's the same for tradesmen, really. They're very good at their trade, but they don't really know how to run the rest of the business, or what mindset they need to have. Or that, I think, is brilliant.
Thank you. And, it takes everybody else to actually try. I think, we can only lead the horses to water. I think it's credit on the members for doing it as well.
Yeah. Well, you get inspired by, right, you do this, and this, and you can do it. And then you see the success, and you're just like, right, rinse and repeat.
Because it is a very, like the trades in general, but especially the kitchen industry, I find is very monopolized, and the fitters are, I think, suppressed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And people are very used to doing what they're used to doing. And that's the same with people who are used to being, another conversation we had is being used by Howdens. They're just, I've used Howdens for years. It's just like, no, they're using you.
Yeah, I know. It's funny that, isn't it? Yeah, I use Howdens. It's like, no, Howdens use you, mate.
Yeah.
You know. And about yourself then, since being a member, what do you think your biggest mindset shift has been since you've been in?
Just being able to see that it's not just going to be me doing this thing. I can build a team. I can do, multiple projects at the same time. I was always busy in what I was doing, but only ever kind of treading water financially. I wasn't really building up the big nest egg that you need to build up these days to have a pension fund and all the rest of the things for the future.
So is this allowing you to build a pension fund?
It is. And I mean, we buy property on the side as well, so that's also giving an income as well.
So it's a nice little addition to the portfolio, the academy membership, then, is it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it wouldn't be without it.
Good. And just on that then, with the tradespeople, what you just mentioned then, like the tread water, it is a shame in it, because a lot of people just get too old if they ever even do realise that they could have earned a lot more money and had a much better life? Do you feel like profit feels like a dirty word to tradespeople, doesn't it?
It does a bit. They're used to taking their salary and then, yeah, that's it. I mean, there is more to it as a business owner. You don't necessarily just switch off as soon as you leave the job, but increasingly with regular jobs these days, you don't get to switch off when you leave work anyway.
No, and especially if
so you might as well be doing it for yourself.
I've always said this, and I've said it on other interviews where, life's hard, whether you've got money or not, so you might as well have it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Nothing's going to be simple. You might as well do something which feels worthwhile and gets you on in the world.
And being less busy but more stressed about money and not having it is worse than being a lot busier with the money and being able to build something that gives you purpose as well, that keeps you engaged and makes life go quickly. I know it's really strange, but I think sometimes the quicker that life is actually going, probably the more fun you're having without realizing it, and the better quality of life you're actually having, because it's just going so quickly and,
yeah,
it's good.
And you feel like you're doing something worthwhile. And I mean, I was at a customer's house yesterday and I kind of looked around. It's just like, I've done virtually everything I can see here. I've done virtually everything in this, house or garden. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So what do you think the impact has been? Obviously, you've just mentioned it's a good investment alone being in the academy. So what impact has that had on you as a person in life?
So I've had businesses before in the past, employing lots of people, which was a pain, to be honest. But I now feel like I've got a sustainable business which is growing. I go to networking events and I'm just like, there's Dan over there. Go and talk to him about kitchens. He knows, he knows what he's talking about. So it's nice to feel that place in the community as well, that people recognize you. And the job I was at yesterday, I've got my car outside. One of my other customers drove past, stopped the car, beeping the horn. Dan, how you doing? It's nice to be kind of recognised and celebrated by your customers.
You know what? So many people in the academy are saying the same thing. I think you're the third person that said that to me this week about the brand being locally recognised and them having a profile locally that just makes you feel good. That you're doing something good and people are seeing it, and it's big for the community as well. That
yeah, definitely.
And the networking side of it. The networking side of it keeps coming up a lot. I think, again, the more successful businesses that we've got are definitely doing the networking aspect of it. How important is that, do you think?
Vital, I would say. Certainly for me and for the way I need to run my business down here. I mean, for other people, if they're just dealing with just residential customers, then they might not need it as much. But it never hurts to have more trades that you've met and know that you've got a pocket full of cards of people that can do all these things. Your plasterer is busy, but there's another plasterer I met last week who was recommended by 3 other people. Yeah.
There's a lot of good people out there, isn't there?
Definitely. But also the ones that go to the networking are also the more proactive ones. They're not just sitting there waiting for jobs to come to them. They're more proactive and more like the kind of people you want to deal with, really.
What would you say the thing is that you've done now that you just didn't think was possible before?
Oh, well, so when I started with you guys, the getting off the tools looked like a very long way away. And, it was maybe a 5-year plan.
If everything went right.
How long have I been with you guys now? It's 18 months, 18 months, something like that. I'm off the tools.
Well, there you
go. Yeah.
Drop the mic.
Yeah. Yes. Yesterday was a different one because it's an old customer. And like I said, I've done everything in her house. She needs someone who she trusts. So she trusts me. That's why I've done everything there.
Yeah.
So it's, I tend to go back and do jobs for her.
Good. And where did Cornflower come from? Where's the brand come from?
So I ummed and ahed about Cornflower for a long time. So in the end, Cornflower it's one of my favourite photos I've ever taken was of a cornflower as my favourite flower.
Right.
But so I'd gone through every possible kitchen name that I could think of. So I didn't want it to be based around Plymouth or everyone calls something Tamar something around here, or Plymouth this. I didn't want it to be not a location-based name.
Yeah.
Again, you start a business looking at the potential exit. And so long term, I want to build a brand that someone could purchase at the end of it. If it's Dan Seeley Kitchens, then as soon as Dan Seeley is no longer in it, then it's gone. So just, there's so many people that call themselves DS Kitchens, or, there's just every name that you can possibly come up with. So it had to be something that the Instagram name was available, the TikTok name was available, the Facebook profile name was available, it was available on Company's House, the website was available, etc., etc. So I ended up just with coming up with something slightly random, and it works for me. I always wear flowery shirts, so
yeah, I've noticed. So
you're lucky I didn't wear one up Snowdon.
Well, I think you would have regretted that. It was a bit cold up there for a flowery shirt.
I regretted not wearing gloves.
So when you look at, since you joined then, what have you done in that time? So obviously you've got a nice car as well, sign written.
Yeah, so for me, because I never wanted to be the tradesman doing all of the work, there was no point me getting a van. I don't want to drive a van. I like driving a car. So I got a nice looking car, designed all the graphics for it based around my brand. I think I've got a fairly clear brand and all the brand colors and everything. It's all, so I'm just kind of sticking to that.
So the car looks great. Uniforms, obviously you've got your clothes, you've got your background behind you. You know, you're all set up.
That's a banner behind me that I take off to after shows. Right. So it's got a QR code that people can scan to, and then that automatically goes to the brochure download page.
Happy days.
So I get people to put in trade in there if they're trade, so that I know to put them through the right way.
Yeah. And when you are obviously building all these assets, do you get compliments of the customers in regards to your website and the proposal software and the videos that you're doing in the sales process? How do the customers like that type of stuff?
Yeah, they really like it. I mean, the videos, obviously, everybody in the room is just like, oh, not really comfortable with that. But once you just treat it like a video call, like a conversation like we're having now, it's fine. You just get used to it.
Yeah.
But then once you've got all that, the customers just seem to love it, and it just, you look professional.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I mean, I got a bathroom job. I won a bathroom yesterday that they just took the quote that I'd put in, and I thought at the time, I think he's probably expecting this to cost a little bit less. And he just came back and said, "Yep, that's fine, but can we add a nice mirror onto it for about this much money?" Yep, we can do that. So signed that one all off yesterday.
Yeah. Well, the brand just screams trust it.
Yeah. And so as long as you're not taking the mick on prices, he'd already done a bit of a Google search of a bathroom. It might be 5,000 to 8,000, 10,000 if you want really nice stuff. So it came in at 8.5 plus VAT, so 10.2, something like that, and he was happy. It was in line with what he was expecting. He didn't even bother going to get another quote.
Well, that says it all, then, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah. So that's really good. So I'm proud to have the public face that I've got.
Good.
I think it's really good.
And that exposure that you've got has been through the stuff you've done through the academy, really, hasn't
it? Yeah. It's all stuff that I wouldn't necessarily have thought of. I mean, obviously you think of, I could do some T-shirts and things, but you don't realize necessarily your sales is all about your visibility. People don't know you're there. How on earth are they going to buy from you? Just because you think you're the best doesn't mean anyone else is magically going to know about you. So, yeah, things like the SEO that's all being done through the Academy Plus now. It's all helps with that visibility and gets you bumped up the profile. And I'm seeing more results coming back through people spotting me through that as well. So I think I've probably added just about as much through your services as I can possibly add now.
Yeah, well, until there's something else.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something else, but every time there is, you realize it's totally worthwhile.
Yeah, well, we don't push things out for fun. We're not.
No.
We're only doing stuff that's making your life easier. Our sort of mission is to make the Academy members' businesses as easy to run as possible. Is life different now, would you say, from...
Very much so. Very
in
much
what
so.
ways?
I mean, the most recent change is having come off the tools. I've now got to plan my days as to how, because it was always, right, I've got to get up at 5:30 so that I can get my 90-minute session in first, and then make my lunch, and then go off to work, and fit everything in around my kind of working day, which takes its toll in the end. It's difficult to do all that. I mean, I'd kind of recommend to people that they ended up, like, a good first progression to getting off the tools is to do like 4 days on the tools and have a 1 day off a week that you can catch up with stuff, just so things don't don't overrun you.
Yeah, which is easy to do. Yeah.
Because burnout, I think we talked about burnout at the previous academy. It can be difficult by the time you're running the business during the day, and then you have to do all the business tasks in the evening and in the morning. It can be quite full on, but it's worthwhile, so we do it.
Yeah, and it's in control of your own destiny, and it's hard
Definitely.
work to be in control of your own destiny. And if you don't do that, you have to give your destiny to someone else ultimately, don't you?
And work hard for them, so you might as well do it. Yeah, I heard of one of my trades recently. So he's a 19-year-old guy, and he's a plasterer, and he got the best business brain I've ever heard on his shoulders for a 19-year-old. But he's just giving up business because he can't. He just wants to be a 19-year-old and do 19-year-old things rather than having to do all the business stuff of an evening.
Which you'll probably regret in the future.
I think he will. This is exactly the conversation I was having with my contractor this morning.
So what's the plan for Dan and Cornflower for the next 12 to 18 months?
We've got a number of projects that we're working on. So the other thing we do is any projects that we find, any construction projects that we can involve our contractors in without diverting them too much from our own jobs, then we push those to them, and then we get a cut of whatever they charge for that. So there's a new build that they're starting fairly soon. So that's going to add to the funds nicely in the background. So if we can add things like that, need to be getting to the stage where we're doing probably 4 kitchens a month and similar number of bathrooms. We always find that there's twice as many bathrooms as there are kitchens, but that
always
probably runs in line with how many bathrooms you have in a house compared with how many kitchens.
Yeah, good observation.
So yeah, and adding the bedrooms and the media walls, that kind of thing as well.
Are you going for that?
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, well, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely perfect sense. It's all similar skills, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's the net. Get the net cast, because you can catch a lot more fish in that net using the same tools.
Yeah. So we've had the conversation in the past about customers are expensive to get, all the marketing and everything. So the more things we can sell to a customer once we've got them and built their trust, the better.
Yeah, and they come back after years. If you mentioned before, like we've had customers that we've done 3 bathrooms for them in 3 different houses over 10 years. It's just ridiculous. When you have that brand and the trust, you have customers for life.
Yeah. And not only that, once you've won someone's trust, they'll recommend you to other people. So there's, for every person you do a job for, they've probably got half a dozen friends that are in a similar level to themselves, because people normally end up nestled in with people in a similar situation as themselves.
Future's bright and exciting then.
Really is. Really is.
Good. So if someone was you 2 years ago in that position, treading water, looking for more freedom, money, prospects, want to fulfill the dream or whatever it is they want to do that they're not already doing, and they've just found the academy and they had a conversation with you, what would you say to them?
Just do it. Just do it. If you're the kind of person, if you're installing kitchens, you're doing bathrooms or anything with those kind of skills, just do it. If you're trying to do it on your own, how are you going to do it better? You're just not. All of the things you might say, okay, it's 225 a month, but doing those things separately is probably going to cost you 500 or 1,000, and it won't be as good. So
True.
it's just a no-brainer. What you find is the further into the academy you get, the more you think, why on earth did I even hesitate? There was 2 months at the beginning where I could be 2 months further on now.
Yeah, and that's always the hindsight and the things that you look back on and go, if I'd only done it sooner. And there will be people watching this that would have been aware of us now for quite a long time and still haven't taken action. So what bollocking would you give them?
Just get off your ass and do it. Why are you not wanting to forward yourself and get yourself on in the industry and stop paying Mr. Howdens?